We just pulled up to a beaver float and the trap is gone, so let's go down there and see what we got. So we're a few stops into the day so far setting traps. Right here we got some fresh beaver sign. Beaver's been bringing these little mud pies up on the bank, marking his territory, or her, we'll see. I'm not sure if the beaver's living local or if it's traveling through. I'm sure it's somewhere near. But there's this little cut in the bank. I'm going to set a foothold right here. Kind of hard to see, but my trap is set right here. And then I got my drowning rod going down, and I got it kind of funneled. Right here I got a few little bait sticks. In the past I've never really used bait, but I'm seeing if it makes a difference this year. And then I got my lure there as well. Here at one of the many stops for the day, and we found somebody's deer pile. It's very nice of them to leave those deer here. So we just came downstream from where those deer carcasses were. We're underneath that bridge. Creek flows this way. We're on a point here. We got our 750 on a drowner rod going down into the water. Down that way, I believe there's a beaver dam. I'm not walking all the way down there to find out, but I hear water flowing. This isn't a rocky creek. It's more muddy than anything. So there won't be rocks causing obstructions to hear that waterfall. So I believe there's an old beaver dam, because I don't see a lodge, I don't see any feed, I don't see a bank den. Right here there's some fresh chews. When I say fresh, they're from last year. There's old chews and fresh chews mixed in, so these are old willows. I can see where the old chews are, and I can see where they chewed off the new growth from last year. So that's why I chose to put a set right here. There used to be a lodge on the other side of the road, and we'll hop up and see if we can see that. So we're back up on the bridge, looking this way. There's a snowmobile bridge, and there's an old dam there. And I'm not seeing the lodge that was there. It might be covered with snow, but last year there was a lodge on the upstream side. We're gonna put one more set out here yet. So we're back down in the water, yet again downstream. I went upstream, I couldn't see the lodge, and I don't feel like walking that far. I'm already on this side of the road with my trap, so I figure I might as well put a float right here. It's just a 330 and a beaver float. We're gonna continue on setting traps. So we're down here next to this old bridge abutment underneath another bridge, or it's just off to the side. Right here up behind it, there's a crawl up, and it's not really a crawl up, it's more so just an eroded section. So right there I have a trap. It's a 750. It's probably under 8 to 10 inches of water, but I have it fairly close to that bank. It's about a foot back, and I have my lure up on the bank. I got a stick on the side too. The theory is the beaver's going to swim in, he's going to try to pop himself up to sniff, and he's going to drop his foot on the back, or his back foot on the trap. Now I got my rod coming down. My rod down here is buried in the rocks, and I got some rocks up there to help hold this stake in the rocks. Then downstream I got a float. We'll walk right over and we'll show you. Before we get to that beaver float, I figure I'd give you a bird's eye view of that one. It's down there on the side of that little bridge abutment. Beaver will swim down, come by, get caught. So we're coming up over this side, and there's our float. There's not any rain in the forecast or snow. If there was, I'd put it under the bridge, but I put it there so I'd be able to see it and check it fast. So we're down at this beaver float, and I got the trap, put her in there. So then how I got my cable set up, I now have a spring clip on there to where I don't have to get my cable on before I set my trap. It's working out very nice. Very, very nice. Then I got a popple stick into the screw, and then there's some caster on. There's also some caster kind of spread around the back underneath the grass. Make sure I get that cable on before I forget. Too focused on filming. So I just got a little spring hook just right there on the spring. And there's the finished set. This is one of the more traditional ways you'll see a beaver float, you know, set out in the open. A lot of times that I'll be using them, that's more so just going to kind of be a pre-made set that I'm going to stuff in a spot. That I also like to make mention, if you notice I have the triggers not in a T, they're offset a little. That way if a muskrat's coming in and out, it's not getting caught since I have to turn in incidentals. If you keep incidentals, I'd have it as a T so you can keep them, unless you're really focused on keeping the beaver. I suppose the beavers are worth a lot more than a measly muskrat is, so that'd work either way. So we got one float here and one float there. We're just on a larger river. I use the floats as compared to a foothold because I figured the larger river was going to fluctuate more as all the snow melts. Get another float set in the kind of the stereotypical way. We have a bait stick stabbed on there with a little lure on top, some grass. There is even some lure underneath the grass. Still a little bit of ice on this. It's going to melt in the next 3 days, I can guarantee it. So I want to be ready for when the beavers start coming through. Typically I put 2 sets at this spot, but with the ice right now I'm not going to. Once the ice thaws I'm going to put in a foothold, but that'll be in a few days here. So we just busted some ice, and I got a foothold set right here. It's just a number 5 double long spring. As you can see, there's still quite a bit of ice, but I guarantee within the next 3 days with the coming temperatures, this ice is going to be gone and there's going to be beaver moving. It's not going to be necessarily travelers, but beavers that are within a mile up and downstream are going to be coming through here. They've been cooped up all winter. They want to get out, they want to see new territory, they want to find new feed, feel the sun. So I'm mainly just doing this in preparation because I know that this will be exposed this coming week and I want to be ready for those coming beavers. So we're on the other side of the road from that number 5 double long spring. We're underneath an old railroad bridge. Right there's a beaver chew from last year, I assume. Actually, it kind of looks like there's a fresh slide on it. Let me try to zoom in, I couldn't quite see. Kind of looks like something's been recently going up and down on it. Here's another chew, possibly moderately fresh. If you look down there, where you see the wood chips there, that's actually on top of ice. So there's shelf ice down there and there's wood chips on top of it. So they're somewhat fresh, I assume. I doubt that the wood chips would be on top of that ice if it was last fall. So right here, I have a 330. I can't quite dig a pocket or anything, and I didn't feel like using a float in this spot. I've been setting this spot for years and years, and from this post right here to this corner, the past probably 5 years now, I've been putting a trap here every spring. One of these little spots. Sometimes I make a little rock pocket and I tie up to that post depending on the water level. But right there, that's what I got. Just a piece of popple with a little bit of lure on it. I'd be surprised if it doesn't end up catching a beaver at some point in time. Usually I catch some decent sized beaver out of this spot as compared to some other spots. But ice should be out in a few days and hopefully we get something. So we're here on another river. Over there, on the left side of that fence, I got a foothold on a drowner. That one's using popple and lure. And this right here, I just made a fake little beaver pole up along with a little lure. I got a 750 underwater right there. Then I got my drowner rod coming down. A lot of the spots that I'm setting when it's early ice like this, typically it's south facing, and a lot of times it'll be on the east side, because as the sun comes up, as it strengthens throughout the day, it'll typically shine on something that would be like on the northeast, facing to the southwest. So yeah, because the other side of this bridge, it's still all snowed and iced up for the most part. I mean, the river itself is open, but there isn't as good of spots to set. That's why I chose this side. Here's yet another float. We're on that same river as we were, that larger river, just another bridge. There's one float. I got another float around the corner and we'll show you. I can't get out in the middle to set it. The ideal place I'd set is on the other side, that corner over there actually, because I think I'd be able to walk out a little further. But there's a house right at the top of that hill. I'm not setting in someone's backyard. It's legal to do it in the water, but I'm not pushing boundaries. There's no reason to. So my theory is a beaver come either upriver or downriver, and they'll find my trap. Here's the other trap. I'm not going to put grass on this one. I'm curious how well it works without the grass. I got a popple stick on the back and 2 little gobs of lure. Just curious to see what will happen if I don't put any grass on it. The grass just, to me, it feels a lot more comfortable. Makes me feel a lot more confident. But sometimes it's good to go outside your comfort zone and see what you find. So we're here at another bridge. Right off the bat, you can see I got my beaver floats down here. Got 1 and 2. I took advantage of this down tree. I think it kind of slipped off this bank. It fell, and it both got pushed by a flood probably to find that specific spot. But it worked out perfect to put one on the point and tuck one back in. Over here, this will end up opening up, but I don't think beaver are going to travel through there, and I don't think beaver are going to travel underneath this log. It just doesn't make sense to me. I think every beaver is going to come right through this pinch point right here, and no better spot than right at the pinch point. So got 1 and 2. If we come look at the other side's still slightly froze up, but like I've been saying, things are going to open up pretty darn fast here in the next few days, and I'm going to be ready for the first rush of beaver coming on through. I got a popple stick on the one, no popple stick on the other. Every set that I'm making, I'm putting lure on. I'm determining if it's worth using the bait. I'm going to end up having a video on that at the end of the year, discovering what I found out. So we are at yet another location, and we got a foothold set right here, popple stick lure, and over here we have a float set. The other side, there's not many good spots to put, so right here is where I decided to go. With my footholds, I try to set them a little bit deeper. I'm always trying to go for a hindfoot catch. I seem to be a better front foot, that's my personal opinion. But both hold, both drown them. We're gonna head on to the next spot. This one's got a trail camera on it. We're gonna try to get video of a beaver getting caught in a beaver float. Don't know if that's ever happened. There is a beaver lodge a little bit down this creek right here. There's the tippy top of it. We got another float on the other side of the road. So it widens out at the bridge, and then it pinches out into the narrowness of the creek. I got the 330 float on the same exact spot, but on the other side. Set up pretty much the same exact way, except that one has a popple stick. I can't do a popple stick with the trail cam, and like I said, I'm trying to do 50-50 to see what happens. So we're here in a larger creek going through quite a large swamp, and I anticipate that there's beaver somewhere through there. And right here next to the road, looks like a beaver left a little mound of dirt. It's pretty common in the spring to find those right on the sides of the culverts. It's always good to pay attention for that. Then trying to zoom in, it's hard to see with the camera here. Right there, you can see our popple stick. And at the base of that, we have a number 5 double long spring on a drowning rod. And let's go to the other side of the road. So then on this side of the road, same thing, same creek, except we got our beaver float set off to the side like that, and the cattails. That's one good thing about these beaver floats, is putting them in the cattails like that. Little insets. Down here in yet another river, very small river. Right here we got a beaver lodge. Up there we have a big box store. Right here we got a beaver float tucked on the side. And right here we got a 750 on a drowner rod. This is where the beaver were coming up to chew some food at one point in time. Hopefully we catch something. Here at another creek, and we have a float right there with some popple and beaver lure. Got another float right here just with lure. Just a long flowing creek, just meanders along. Right here on the side, there's some old beaver chews, so there's been beaver here at some point in time. Hopefully we'll get one. We just pulled up to a beaver float, and the trap is gone, so let's go down there and see what we got. Okay, so now we're pulling up the trap. There you go. First beaver of the spring. Oh, we just gotta get him. Nice beaver, nice and dark.